One last issue, though. Do you too blame human rights activists and the lawyers for the self-immolations amongst asylum seekers on Nauru?
John, let me say this. These poor souls that have set out to harm themselves, one of whom, of course, has died. These are tragedies, and these people are going through clearly through very great mental anguish.
And you're in a position to do something about it, but you say you can't.
Well, John, this is the issue. They're provided with medical support. They're provided with mental health services. But here's the thing: if we were, as some people advocate, if we were to bring the people on Nauru and Manus to Australia, that would send a signal, as you know it would, to the people smugglers to start up again, and we would be back where we were.
So do you blame the lawyers
government.
and human rights activists too, as did the Immigration Minister and the Nauruan government?
Well, let me just say this to you, John. I would encourage everybody who participates in this debate to be very careful that they do not create the impression or offer false hope to people on Nauru and Manus that they may be able to come to Australia. Let me be very, very clear. We know this is a tough policy, but the alternative is thousands drowning at sea, thousands of unauthorised arrivals, the whole tragic people smuggling exercise underway again.
Doesn't have to be the only alternative. It's not as binary as that, is it, Prime Minister? We could arrange a more orderly way of dealing with the pressures, as countries in Europe are trying to do, but we choose not to.
John, we encourage the people on Nauru and Manus, those in particular whose applications for asylum have been rejected, we encourage them to return to their country of origin. But they very often choose not to do so because they believe that the Australian government will relent and that they will be able to come to Australia, or, as the people smugglers are now arguing now, and we know this is hardly secret, we know that the argument is being put to people that there's an election coming, and if the Labor Party win the election, then the doors will be open once again. Now, of course, Mr. Shorten would say that is not true, but the melancholy reality of this is that we have to be very strong in terms of our border protection, because we know what the alternative is. This is not a theoretical exercise. Kevin Rudd undertook a real-life experiment.
Yep.
He abandoned the Howard government's border protection regime,
yep,
and we know exactly what happened.
Okay, so what happens if after a federal election
1,200 people drown at sea?
A double dissolution election, you have to negotiate with a hung parliament and a hung Senate for support from the Greens and crossbenchers, and one of the conditions they demand for you to continue as Prime Minister is that you end offshore detention. Would you agree to it or not?
Well, John, can I tell you that the changing our border protection arrangements would result in the same tragedy that we had under Labor. Now, you can hypothesise about all sorts of scenarios.
Would you compromise on it to stay on in office?
John, we are focused on ensuring that we form a government after the election and that we deliver our national economic plan for jobs and growth. That's our focus.
I look forward to seeing you at some stage during the 2-month-long election campaign, which will exhaust everyone, but I hope not you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Malcolm Turnbull, the Prime Minister of Australia, speaking to us from his office in Parliament House.